So,
Ireland.
we'll start with a big congratulations. A Republic at the end of this month.
End of this month.
So, what does that mean in kind of real terms as opposed to just ideological ones?
Well, I think one of the key things for Barbados is that we became an independent nation in the 1960s,
Yeah.
1966. And this has been a long journey. And we have, over the course of those years, those decades, have found different ways in which we are still very much inextricably tied to the British monarchy.
Yeah.
So, for example, you will recall that the last thing we did, which was significant in this regard, was to shift from the Privy Council to as the highest court of appeal to having a Caribbean Court of Justice, because we are fully confident that we have British-based laws, Commonwealth laws, and that will still remain, but we have developed and evolved amazing and exceptional journalists, jurists, in Barbados over the years and in the Caribbean. And so there's nothing that would have stopped us from having our own final appellate court. And equally so, here we are now in 2021, where our monarch is still based in principle as head of state in the UK, the Queen of England. And if I'm being sworn in, as I was when I was a minister, I'm swearing to the Queen and all of her heirs, born and unborn.
Yes.
And so those are things which have historically been fantastic over the years, and they've had their own value. But ultimately, a child has to grow up.
Indeed.
And the time of maturation has absolutely come.
And it's something that we Irish know all too well, having pursued a similar journey ourselves, even though it's a few decades ago.
That's right.
Aer Lingus launched their inaugural flight that went out on the 20th of October.
That's right.
A little bird, or several little birds, tell me that both trips, the FAM trip for agents, but also the media trip, were both roaring successes. So,
Absolutely.
what does it mean to have a direct Aer Lingus service from Manchester?
Well, I think one of the key things with that Aer Lingus flight was the notion that we have traditional markets historically with whom we have partnered, and we are very proud of those traditional relationships. But we are also extraordinarily excited to welcome new partners like the Irish. So hopefully we're not flying out of Manchester, but the expectation is that hopefully we'll find ourselves in a position where we build a demand and build the relationships that will be coming out of Irish destinations directly. But how do we do that? We have to be able to expand trade linkages. We have to make the connections between international business, put our business and our commercial communities together so that there's a demand created for airlift, both at the top of the plane in terms of passengers and at the bottom of the plane in terms of cargo trade between our two countries.
Okay, and in order to create that demand, agents are obviously going to be key players in this relationship.
Yes.
In order for agents to be able to sell successfully, what aids or what supports will there be on the part of the Bayesian authorities for agents looking to promote Barbados?
Well, the FAM trip, for example, was one of those examples where you had the agents come down. They were amazing. I actually hosted them to dinner one night at one of our flagship restaurants. We also took them across all of the product and the attractions so that they could see what was there. We're looking forward to doing more of those what we call familiarization tours, where all of the agents can come down to Barbados, see what the destination has to offer, experience it for themselves, and be in a position to sell it. We're also looking at how to use the technology and the virtual platforms to integrate into where agents are, so as part of their own sales apparatus, they're able to benefit from Barbados' own marketing of the destination, including its products and the services that are available.
Okay, and I mean, one of the things we're seeing in the reopening of the world is value for money in terms of entry prices for accommodations at all levels. Is it also the same in Barbados?
It's the same in Barbados. We actually have an artificial, I don't want to call it separation, but we have the West Coast, which is typically seen as very high-end, very pricey, and the South Coast, which is seen as more affordable, even though you have some pricey located destinations in there as well. But what we're also seeing is that in addition to the hotel product, for example, you have the villa segment, which is ultra luxury, but Barbados has perhaps more Airbnb rooms in the country than you do even hotel rooms.
Okay.
And so there is something for the top of the market, the middle of the market, and the bottom of the market in terms of accommodation. And then you have from the most expensive exclusive restaurants to the most regular run-of-the-mill best food shops.
Which is where I'll be,
Which is where all of us will be.
Absolutely. Something that's happened again as a result perhaps of the last 18 months is that as destinations reopen, they're delighted to welcome back visitors. But one of a lot of destinations are confronting staffing issues. So, which is obviously a concern for a hotel, for instance, that wants to pitch at a 5-star market but mightn't have the staff to offer a 5-star product. What is the staffing situation like in Barbados?
Well, I'll tell you what. There's
Go on.
something magical.
Okay, I like this. Magical.
When we went into the pandemic, there were so many countries who were offering worker subsidies for wages and salaries. And so people were staying at home and they were getting their salaries or a percentage of. And in many countries, we have seen it's been impossible to get many of those workers to come back. Barbados designed the opposite type of program. We paid a percentage of salaries, 80% of your reinsurable earnings for you to go back to work.
Okay.
Even during the pandemic, we invested in a program, $300 million, to re-engage workers during the pandemic so that they could be kept engaged, so that they could be trained, so that we could engage in things like digitalization and bringing them up to speed, so that they can learn new skills and new trades, so that when we began, again, flying, and we started to see the demand being expanded, obviously, with people coming to Barbados again, people were already back at work. Okay. Hotels, for example, went through a rehabilitation program. Another part of the project that we designed was to allow for rehabilitation and renovations to take place on hotel plants during that downtime. So staff are always back up to work, so they've always been re-engaged. Properties have been refurbished during that period, so we didn't necessarily have a hard restart. We always kept going.
Okay, which is good news, I think, to agents looking to promote packages, etc., on the island. And then my final question is that Barbados is a well-established tourist destination. It's very popular, as you said earlier, with visitors from the UK, but also the United States and elsewhere. And yet, it seems to me that the Bajan Tourism Authority have decided, you know what, yes, we've been popular, but it's not enough. So what's the goal, say, 2025, 2030? What kind of numbers are you looking for?
Fantastic question. We're looking to be able to double, if not triple, our numbers within the next 5 to 10 years.
Right.
But that's not only with physical visitors. The key thing here for us in Barbados has been that we have been able to get visitor spend on the basis of high numbers for arrivals and high numbers for occupancy. But there are many countries that have been able to develop the business of tourism, developing of companies, investment, entrepreneurship, franchising, pulling from a pool that is not just your domestic market. That is a focus that is now taking our attention and repositioning of Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc. Our marketing teams will continue to push for increased arrivals, higher levels of occupancy, and that will continue. But what is new for us is that we expect to see big Barbados brands evolving and moving beyond our shores, setting up commercial presence elsewhere, and bringing the business of tourism from Barbados to new jurisdictions, and with it, international business, the internationalization of our sector.
Exciting times ahead for the Republic of Barbados.
Thank you very much.
Minister, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you very much.